Feathers fall, but the sky won't care. Red and blue banners in the same stale air. Truth's a shadow you can't hold. It slips like sand, it's bought and sold. Left wing, right wing, same old bird. Chirping lies that we've all heard. Flying circles, never higher. Two sides feeding the same fire. They preach in suits, they howl in ties. Behind the mask, the same disguise. Promises crumble like a brittle stone. The stage is packed, but we're alone. What's the cost of hope's decay when every side feels the same gray? Left wing, right wing, same old bird. Chirping lies that we've all heard. Flying circles, never higher. Two sides feeding the same fire. They draw the lines, we take the bait. We fight each other while they are caged with bars we cannot see, built by their false dichotomy. They got caught of me.
Hello, everybody. Now, I know a lot of you are already aware of the story, but obviously I wanted to go into it today. We'll be talking about it with a few people that I have on the panel today. But first, I just wanted to talk about how I found out about this. I've known about the story since about last Monday. I received an email from a school that I went to last year, and there was a reporter trying to get in contact with me. They ended up finding my school, and they contacted me through them. I reached out to him, called him, and one of the first things he asked me if I had known about Karl Jay's death. I was not aware of his death at the time. He died back in August, about 3 weeks after our interview. I have the interview linked in both the YouTube and Rumble chat. I highly encourage that everyone go and check that out. It was a really great interview, and it really breaks down his situation and gives you his perspective on things. A lot of the articles, including the article that was released yesterday, does a really well. They do a really good job of breaking down everything that happened, but they obviously didn't get his full side of the story. I feel like they could have talked about his situation a little bit more and some of the claims that he was talking about. But we have the stream, we still have the stream and the interview that he did with me and Joey, giving his side of things and his point of view. But I spoke with this reporter. He asked me some basic questions. He included a few of my comments in the article as well. Yeah, it was it definitely was one of those things that I was not expecting. I was looking to reach out to Karl soon for a follow-up, and you know, the follow-up found me first, and it was not the follow-up that I hoped for, you know. And it was also unfortunate, not to make it about myself, but I also got other bad news that day. We had a death in the family, followed by another death the next day, on my father's side. But you know, it is what it is, and there's a lot to go into about the story. The reason I didn't bring it up sooner is because I was asked by the reporter who included me in the article. He also included my interview with him. He asked if I would wait till the article came out to talk more in depth about it. and I agreed to do so. So this is the in-depth video. We'll be talking about it today. And just some of the people joining me today. We may have more. I know Joey will be joining us soon, but for now we have Nora and Sean joining us today. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Right. So this is one of those. Don't know how I missed this, and I guess life gets busy, and you don't realize, there's a lot of little things that you have to worry about. There's a lot of stories that we all talk about in the news. Sean, you cover a lot of stuff on your channel. Nora, you talk about a lot of news on here, on Chris's show, on Joey's show. And I feel like there's updates like this to stories like this often, but we just don't see them. You know what I mean? And it's really unfortunate that this is what everything culminated into. I wish he didn't. Because I didn't say it directly. All I said was that he lost his life and then he died. He took his own life. And the way he took his own life was the day that he was supposed to be evicted, he decided to detonate his entire house, literally. So he didn't want to be homeless. I know, even watching the interview back, that was a massive fear of his, and I definitely didn't see it being a fear to the point where he would take his own life. I didn't know he'd rather take his own life than be homeless. It's really unfortunate that he saw it that way.
See, on Joey's show, he made a crack. Just like I took it as a lighthearted jab, that he would rather go out than be homeless. And I'm like, no, don't say that kind of stuff.
Wow.
That kills me. And especially because last month I was asking Joey where he was, if he had seen him in the chats, because I really hadn't been in the chats lately. And so I didn't know if anybody had seen or heard from him. And I'm like, well, we got to really follow up with him. And then life happened and we never did. And then you told me last week, and it literally just felt like somebody gave me a gut punch.
Yeah. I've checked on his social media periodically since the interview, and I did notice that it went dark. But my assumption, honestly, it was, and this is still on me for not reaching out and trying to find out more. But I just assumed that he had actually lost his house and he didn't have access to internet or something at the moment. I was hoping to hear from him at some point, like, hey, update, they took the house, or something, and then. It was super weird getting contacted by that reporter. I have no idea how he found out what school I went to. The only thing I could think of is that there's probably some articles in the newspaper about when I was at the school. That's the only thing I can think of, because I know that there was a few days where like the news came and visited. So maybe my name is in a paper somewhere and that's how he found it. I don't know. But getting contacted in that way was definitely I don't know if surreal is the right word, but it was definitely weird. It was never had anything like that happen. But I highly encourage everyone go and look at Karl Jay's Twitter, his X account. This is an archive of all the evidence that he had posted online. There's tons of evidence here, tons of things that he was highlighting and pointing to help support his case and stuff like that. Lots and lots of videos. There's some things that he's reposted which are a little irrelevant to his situation. But we have things like, his video he did with Tim Cast, which we'll play at some point here. But yeah, this it's a very unfortunate update to a story. For those of you that aren't aware of Karl Jay's story, essentially what was going on was the city was fining him to oblivion, and he had a lot of property taxes that went unpaid because he was unaware that there were 2 parcels of land. So there were 2 parcels of land that he owned, and the city, because the way they drew their maps, didn't realize that he owned both parcels. So they kept fining one of them and taxing the other property as well. And then he didn't find out till way later when he owed all this money. And then while he's trying to pay it off, the county's messing with him, telling him to board up his windows. And then fining him for boarding up his windows. There's people coming by the house saying that it's abandoned and condemned. He has videos of city workers talking with neighbors and mailmen, literally saying, "Do I live here? Do you see me here? Do you talk to me when I'm here?" And even the mailman's like, "Dude, I talk to you every day." So like the city was coming out trying to prove that this guy had a condemned house, had an abandoned house, so that they could take it from him. And then there's
And
even
he
that.
even tried.
And then
He
there,
tried paying the taxes on it, and they wouldn't let him. He's got that video too of him at the clerk trying to pay it, and they won't take his money.
and is that the same video where the woman literally laughs in his face while he's trying to pay for it?
Yeah, that's the county clerk.
It was
Is
just
that the
disgusting.
same woman? Is that the same woman that said they had a plan to sell his property for $1,000 later, and then they wind up giving away the additional plot? The
I
whole
think
thing is
so, yeah.
twisted, man.
I
Like
think
right
so. I
after
think that's the same lady.
yeah, right after the I just watched your interview with him. It's really good. Everybody should check it out. The link is in the chat towards the top. Um I don't know if it's pinned or not, but you should definitely check it out. But basically, like adding on to the pile that Tyler's spelling out here, right after the last drought, when everybody's lawn we were ordered not to water it properly, that he's now being fined because his grass isn't growing fast enough. But what are you like supposed to go out there and scold the grass for not growing fast enough? How does that even make sense? And then something to do with like they assumed that because it was boarded up that nobody's living in it, and they assumed that there was no water on one of the lots. The whole thing is just dark and twisted.
Yeah,
And
there's
what makes it even worse is that the house wasn't even split up evenly. Only one parcel of land took like a quarter of the house. So he had the house spread between two parcels of land. So he technically had to pay for both, and the city never told him that he had two parcels of land.
And then by the time he found out, he owed like thousands, if not a little over $100,000 in fines and taxes. Something
like 4,000 a month, right? Something like that.
Something insane like that. Yeah, and then he has another video of a guy that's contracted by the city, or no, it wasn't even a guy contracted by the city. He literally worked for the city, and he's like, "Yeah, I came out to see if the water was turned on for the house, and I saw that it was boarded up, so I just assumed that the water was off." And then he added that in his report for evidence that it was abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was unable to be contacted when the clerk actually tried to verify that claim, apparently.
Yeah, the whole thing is just screwy, and I wish things could have been different. I feel like we should before we talk more about this, I think we should get into some of the videos we have of the house and the aftermath. We have
catch up the audience for sure.
Yeah, we have this for from the ABC 10. Body found in Sacramento home explosion. The Sacramento Fire Department said at least one person was found inside the home. A neighbor told ABC 10 that the explosion shook doors and broke windows. Sacramento, California, one person is dead after a home exploded in Sacramento Thursday morning. The Sacramento Fire Department responded to the home at the 4000 block of 39th Street after neighbors reported the fire around 6:15 a.m. The home is about 2 blocks north of the Christian Brothers High School. The explosion shook doors, broke windows, and showered a yard with debris, a neighbor told ABC 10. Quote, when they arrived, there were multiple, okay, I don't know why they said it twice, multiple explosions that were happening, as well as an explosion reported prior to their arrival. This is according to the Sacramento Fire Department Captain Justin Sylvia. Once they did arrive, there's some windows that are blown out, so some obvious type of explosion. We're just trying to figure out what caused that explosion. The fire department spokesperson told ABC 10 that a body was recovered from the home. The home was too damaged for fire crews. What was this? It just moved me up for no reason.
County District Attorney Ten Ho's promoting his new book, The People versus the Golden.
Hello? It just started. I know you guys on the panel couldn't hear it. It just started playing random audio. I just muted the tab. The story will be updated as more information becomes available, but the home was too damaged for the fire crews to attempt to put out. The fire spread to the attic of a neighboring home and another outbuilding. So this is the initial article covering this. We could play the video here as well. Let's play the video here. I know you guys can't hear it. Let me share it to you guys real quick. But yeah, this is the original article that I could find covering this. So let's give it a listen. Tab's muted.
We start with breaking news. Police have just started to reopen roadways after a deadly house fire in South Sacramento this morning. We have been covering this story all morning long since 7 a.m. on our ABC 10 Plus streaming show, and Candace Red has been out there all morning. Candace, what can you tell us about what happened exactly?
Well, Jay, good morning to you. You know, neighbors are saying that they are completely shocked when it comes to a home somehow, some way exploding and then catching fire. Giving you a live look at the scene right now. You can see that yellow crime scene tape is up, and we've also seen heavy machinery being brought in, something that you would typically see on a construction site. Well, let's start from the very beginning. This all happened this morning at a house on 39th Street. This is near MLK Jr. Boulevard in Sacramento. Now, when firefighters arrived, they say the house was engulfed in flames. We're told the fire jumped to other homes nearby and even a building behind the house. The firefighters worked quickly to put out the flames and save the other.
I have tried to look for other articles to follow up on this. I don't know what he did to cause the explosion. I don't even know if they would make that public. They probably won't.
They generally won't make that public. If anything, you have to track down the police report and the fire report to find that out.
Right.
They may do it like a long time later, but I don't imagine they would be talking about that. I asked the same question though. I haven't seen anything.
I'd have to agree with our sergeant. He said, "Lol, where did they get this lady from? It's the shittiest on-scene correspondent I've ever seen."
Hey, they all got to start somewhere. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel for talent sometimes, you know?
Look.
And really, like, almost nobody is covering this at all. So just the fact that somebody was willing to go on scene, I thank her for it.
Yeah.
Well, that's partly why, and this isn't to justify what Karl did, but I think that this is why he did what he did, right? He was trying so hard to get his name out there, to get his story out there. So many people turned him down. There's people that said that they would look into it, never did. People that said that they have him on the show, they never did. Joey and I were the only people to actually give him the time of day, to have his story be heard and to delve into it a little deeper. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate that he felt like he was so, not heard that he'd rather not be homeless. So he's like, I don't want to be homeless. I want people to know about my story. Here's a way to do it. And I get the thinking, but I don't agree with it, if that makes sense. Like I get what his thought process was, but I just wish he thought there was another answer.
He gave himself
Agreed.
the permanent solution, and I'm never okay with that.
Agreed.
Permanent solution to a problem that, obviously is life-changing, but, life can still go on. You can still have a good life.
It's a temporary problem. Granted, it's a big problem, and being homeless sucks, but being homeless in California is, there are other places to be homeless that would suck harder. You guys have a lot of beautiful weather most of the time. So being homeless, yes, it sucks. Being an elderly homeless man, yes, absolutely, 120 million%. It sucks. The fact that they did this to him sucks. I wish that he saw a different outcome than what he gave himself. And it's a kick. It really is.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to continue with this video. It shows a lot of the debris and aftermath, so I want to play it.
Properties, and once the fire was out, fire officials say a body was found towards the front of the house. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene. Again, neighbors told us that they were simply taken by surprise.
Usually I come out in the morning, I water my grass, right? So water my grass, went back in to warm up my coffee, was kind of tooling around. Next thing you know, major explosion, man. And it was blew the hinges off on a door, and my wife's like, what was that? We kind of check in and open the door, major fire. I mean, the house is just like totally engulfed.
I heard the boom and felt the house shake. So I thought maybe something fell on my tree, on my house, a tree fell on my house or whatnot. So I got out, was looking on the front porch and I saw the smoke. And so I just came down here running to see what's going on. And saw the house engulfed in flames, and I was on the phone with 911 trying to tell them to hurry up, get here.
Fire officials say the home is a loss because of the fire and multiple explosions. Other houses were damaged too, from an attic fire to windows being blown out and other issues. But firefighters are focused on putting out any sort of hot spots to prevent another fire from possibly sparking. And again, Jay, still no word on what caused the home to explode and catch fire. Of course, investigators will be looking into it, canvassing the neighborhood and asking people if they saw or heard anything. And Jay, as you mentioned, at one point police closed a section of 14th Street near MLK Jr. Boulevard. The road is now back open, so that is good news for drivers. Coming back out to you live here again, we've been seeing crews.
That's the first video. That's the first article. There's another one to follow up with that, but we have Joey joining us now. Hello, Joey.
Hey.
We were just now covering the article, the initial article with the fire and stuff like that. Can I exit out of this? So this is just from ABC 10 covering that a body was recovered in the Sacramento home. We were just about to move to the next article where they confirmed that it was Karl Jay. His full name is Karl Jay Lysinger. He was 62 at the time. So man killed in Sacramento home, explosion identified. Authorities identified Karl Jay Lysinger, 62, as the victim of a Sacramento house explosion. It happened on the day he was set to be evicted. The man killed in the house explosion last week in Sacramento has been identified as 62-year-old Karl Jay Lysinger. Let me stop screen sharing. There we go. The explosion tore through the home around 6:15. It says p.m. I think they mean a.m. On the 4000 block of 39th Street, about 2 blocks north of the Christian Brothers High School. The explosion happened just minutes after an eviction order of the property went into effect at 6 a.m. Yeah, so that's clearly a typo. They meant 6 a.m. So the order went into effect at 6 in the morning, and the house exploded about 15 minutes later. According to the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, records indicate that the home also had a history of code enforcement issues spanning decades. He was kind of a reclusive and stuff, and we think he might have did it himself. Neighbor Gary Hill told ABC 10 last week across the street from the property. The Sacramento Fire Department said neighbors first reported the fire, and when the crews arrived, multiple explosions were still happening. There's some windows that are blown out, so obvious some type of explosion. We're just trying to figure out what caused that explosion. Justin Sylvia, the morning of the explosion. Neighbors told ABC 10 that the blast shook doors, broke windows, and sent debris across yards. The cause of the explosion is still under investigation.
New at 6.
What is
now to a disturbing problem in the Delta?
Why does it keep doing that? It keeps trying to play some like sports video. I don't even know. But yeah, for those of you asking in the chat, again, I'll say go and check out the interview that I have linked in the chat. It's pinned on both YouTube and Rumble. If not, you can just go and look it up on YouTube. Here's the title here. I'm expecting eviction any day now. Retired CA man is having his house stolen by his local government. This is the interview that I did with Karl Jay. Joey also did an interview. I've retweeted it on X because it was one of the things Karl Jay shared before his passing, and you know it's unfortunate. Let's see, Joey, do you have anything that you want to add before we move on to the official article?
It's extremely unfortunate it had to get to that point, and it shouldn't have gotten to that point. In my opinion, he was in contact with multiple people, and as he told us, multiple people just basically stopped talking to him after a certain point. So clearly people thought he was crazy or vying for attention, and now they see he's not. So I wonder if that's going to make people think again before they assume what somebody is doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's like the example I gave yesterday. A total complete stranger comes to your door and asks to borrow your phone. What do? You know, do you allow the person to use the phone, or do you just, close the door in front of their face? And a lot of people close the door in his face. There were a couple of people, you and Joey, who gave him the phone.
Yeah, but he claimed to have the documents, so he said, show us everything, and he did,
He
and people
did.
still.
You guys gave him the time of day when other people didn't.
And people still didn't believe him, though. I mean, we
I
saw
know.
it like in my chat. There was a couple of people that didn't believe him. They're like, "You got to go to the police," and it's like, dude, the
He's already
local
done that.
government is taking his fucking house. What do you think the
Yeah.
police are gonna do?
Yeah, the police are supposed to uphold the Constitution, right? And what happened during COVID, right? COVID's the perfect example. When they were trampling over everyone's rights, forcing them to stay inside, forcing them to wear a mask, all kinds of things, especially in a place like California. What are you're gonna go to the cops? The
Well,
cops will be
COVID,
like, too bad, dude. Too bad. Follow the ordinance.
There's an element of COVID that has something to do with this too, because he claimed that they came after him during COVID, if you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
They
was
first came
because of
after
his
him during
stance on
COVID.
it.
Yes, so
Well, and he also claimed that they refused to give him COVID relief. And if I don't know if this happened in every state, but almost everyone in California got some sum of money during COVID. And even besides that, there was also some rent relief, mortgage relief. There was a lot of things during COVID to help people, get along while they shut everything down.
And he started getting fines and stuff like that after they went around and they were checking properties and they saw his truck and they didn't like the sticker or something that he had on there. There was something that they didn't like on his truck, and then he felt like they started targeting him after that.
Started accusing him of listening to Rush Limbaugh and called him alt-right.
Yeah, that
And
was
the truck.
That was one of the
He-
first
he-
people one of the first people from the city that came to check things out, because the city's map apparently was wrong. And this guy, he comes out and he's supposed to survey the property, and you would think you come out to survey a property, and we just saw the video. It's in the neighborhood. You come out to a neighborhood and you're like, oh, this guy's backyard basically is not included in his property. Huh, maybe we should redraw the city lines that we drew up fucking 70, 80 years ago and include that in his property. No, instead, let's just take it from him. And then after we take it from him, we'll take the house too.
He name drops a lot of people too, in terms of like the ones involved with sending him the paperwork and sending the people to his house.
Yeah.
he showed that they came up with flimsy excuses to give him citation warnings. Like, all this, these reasons to take his house.
100%. It all feeds into itself too, because like they started saying that like the article talks about code violations, right? But the code violations are sort of compounding on some of the things that he was told to do. And when he was told to board up his house, I didn't catch why they told him to do that, like for what purpose. That maybe there was a broken window or something. But they told him to board up the house, and then they used the boarding up of the window or the house to justify not giving him the COVID relief and to not knock on the door because clearly nobody lives there. It's like they backed him into a corner where they could check all the boxes on the paperwork. And
They did.
I don't know. I don't want to like make an accusation here in any kind of way, right? I kind of do, but I want to be professional about it. He was a guy that did his own like refurbishing or whatever you want to call it. He was fixing up trucks, right? And one of his trucks he was fixing up, it had stalled on him while he's trying to drive it. And he gets out of the vehicle and starts working on it. And somebody doing double the speed limit slams into his truck and basically like pushes it and crushes his leg.
Yep.
And then he's now being denied. Like he got basically mocked because he's like, you ran yourself over. Like, okay, so now I'm like, who actually hit him? Is that person also involved with this? That's where my head goes.
There's too many coincidences.
Well, and then back to the video that we mentioned earlier with the county clerk, he even said, like, guys, I'm trying to pay off all of this stuff that he flat out says it. I didn't even know that these were fines or taxes that I owed. I'm trying to get it figured out. I'm trying to pay for it. He's talking about he's talking to the county clerk about these issues. He's like, I recently got ran over and I've been having to deal with that while you guys are trying to take my house. And the clerk is just laughing at him. It's insane.
And
And
she's
it
like,
is
why would I give you the time to figure out your paperwork and gather the evidence? I'm going to take your house, effectively, is what she said.
Well, and you mentioned it earlier. She outright says to Karl on video, she knows she's being recorded. She doesn't care because she doesn't think anything's going to happen. Nothing will probably happen to her. She outright says, we're going to put it up for auction. And if no one buys it, no bidders bid on it, then we will sell it again next year for $1,000.
$1,000. Yep.
We should play that video if you have it, because that's like, don't get me wrong, I'm not
I'll be right
denying
back.
anything, but that sounds hard to believe to the random audience member, you know?
Yeah,
That's
let's see if I could find it. He's
I
got
think
a
the
lot of
whole-
clips.
The
Yeah, he does.
whole scenario sounded unbelievable to the average audience listener, and it sounded unbelievable to people that are literally in the zeitgeist claiming on their shows that the government will do this to you one day. They keep saying that we're heading towards communism, and then when we give them examples about how we're basically heading towards communism, they ignore it.
right.
Okay, I have it right here.
Beautiful.
So Nora dropped out for a minute. Okay.
She said she'll be right back.
Okay, that's fine. Well, you don't really need any visuals for this. It's mostly just the audio, but here you guys go.
If a court finds...
I said it's highly unlikely somebody will bid on it.
Okay.
So you're talking to the county clerk about them stealing your house and trying to auction it off. And then one of the first things she says in the video is, well, there probably won't even be any bidders. This is California, where houses go for $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 in some of the like most low income areas. You don't think someone's gonna come bid on a house and try to like get that for way under?
Right.
But what if somebody does? Then what? And here's the whole thing, is that you just admitted that it's highly unlikely, and it probably is. Because they're going to have to come in there and cut the house.
No, they're not. We put a disclaimer on that the house overlaps the other parcel, which is why I don't think anybody will bid on it. But it is a possibility.
Right. But if that's the case, then why don't you just take it off and allow me to get the proof?
They openly admit that his house is on the second parcel. So why isn't it his? If the second parcel of land has a house on it that's his house, why is it that it's separate from his original property, and why have they been taxing it and fining it to oblivion?
Right. Why did they allow somebody approved of the contractor's plan to build that house across plot lines? Why is that why was that allowed and then later on used as a weapon against the man?
It honestly sounds like them trying to take that 175-year-old farm. It sounds exactly like FEMA not coming to people that had MAGA signs in their front yard. It all sounds like this massive plan to just uproot everything that's good in this country.
Yeah, the Bundy Ranch comes to mind as well.
Yeah.
There's a few examples like this, and you know, not all of them wind up being quite so explosively violent, but some of them do, and when they do, the government hides it.
Well, it's just like this situation. The only reason that I know about this story at this point is because a local news reporter reached out to me, and he was doing a deeper dive on the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's
when you told me about this, I was, and then like we read through it together, you know, and then you're like, this happened 2 months ago. The day you sent it to me, and I was like, oh, this is brand new. I'm just reading the article. I didn't even check the date line. And you said that, I was like, no fucking way. And I scrolled up immediately, and it just rocked my world. I said this yesterday, but I'm like an hour and a half at most away from this guy, and it's not in my local news. Why is a house being exploded by somebody who is being attacked by the local government not in my news?
Because they're gonna hide it.
Yep. It should be in my news. And I'm like, what, do I need to like start a newspaper? Like, how do you start a newspaper? Now that's where my head's at right now. Because clearly my newspaper doesn't give a shit about actually what's happening in the world around you.
Well, why do you think Break the Chains does what he does? It's because he's so sick and tired of his local media not covering actual real stories.
Yeah.
That's why Tyler started doing this, because he's tired of people not covering real news stories.
Yeah.
Things like this keep slipping.
Yeah, that's why I do the stuff that I do too. But it's like, okay, now I need to come up with something that's not just addressing large scale national stuff, like worldwide paradigm stuff, and I need to start covering local news. Apparently, somebody's got to.
This happened 2 months ago, and we didn't find out about it till last week. So clearly, even after the fact, it wasn't on anybody's radar.
I searched yesterday, like, you'll do the quotations parameter to specifically name something. I put the name of my most prominent local newspaper in quotes, and then I typed in Sacramento house exploded, and it's giving me North Carolina news about a judge. And it's like, I scrolled 2 pages, it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just makes you wonder, why isn't this being covered more? Why is it that a local news reporter 2.5 months later decides to start looking into it? Why is no one asking questions about why this guy literally killed himself and blew up his house to the point where you could see it in the pictures I used for the thumbnail. The house is gone. He flattened the house with whatever he did.
Oh, yeah, he moved it off the foundation. Like, I started looking at those pictures a little bit. I'm not going to say exactly how he did it, but I definitely have ideas of how he did it. And based on the explosion, yeah, I can. Yep, he moved that shit off the foundation. They're not going
and no
to
one
be
asked
able to
questions
save.
why he would do that.
No, and they're not going to be able to save that. There is nothing there. They are going to have to completely remove the foundation. They are going to have to completely redo every pipe and everything. Every piece of rebar is going to be redone in that place. It is going to be 100% new if they actually choose to build something on it. And the way that they went about this leads me to believe that they're trying to do something in that area. Like, how much of a development is going into that area? What exactly is going on? Are they trying to put more low-income housing in there? Are they trying to build a supermarket? Are they trying to put a highway there? What is going on? Why are they doing this? Because they only do this when your property is in their way.
And
so what was his property in the way of?
Dr. Baines in the chat points out something. Karl Jay, he had records of them changing where the lines were for those parcels, and they said it was old and that they drew the property line again without him knowing, and he missed the deadlines for any of that. It all comes back to it has to be intentional. There's too many things that happened to Karl to where you can't say that there wasn't some intent to it.
Oh God, yeah, no, there was 100% intent.
Well,
and now that we kind of laid the framework a little bit, Tyler, if you don't mind, can you repeat what you said about the damage to the neighboring houses?
We'll be getting into that in the because we still have the main article to read, but they even said it in that video that we played earlier, and the house. So the fire was so bad that it actually one of the neighboring houses, it spread to their attic, and the house is now condemned. It's been labeled as non-livable. So they need to repair that house before they're allowed to live in it again. And then obviously it shattered windows. There was a neighbor that said that his door almost came off the hinges. Like, this was a massive, not just one explosion. I mean, even the fire captain said that there was an explosion prior to them arriving and still explosions going on while they were trying to put it out.
Multiple. And they actually couldn't put it out for a while because of the explosions. It was too hazardous for the firemen.
Yeah.
So.
And you know what, though? The average layman might blame him for this, saying he shouldn't have done that, and he shouldn't have done that. But you know what? The government caused this, so
yeah. And like I'm kind of torn because in no way, shape, or form should anybody ever end their life.
Yeah.
And additionally, nobody should blow up their house. Nobody should destroy their property. Technically, I think that day was the day he was going to be evicted. So you might have.
It was 15 minutes after the eviction order went into place.
Yeah, went into effect.
So yeah, so you know, some people might argue it's not his anymore. He didn't blow up his house. I don't really care for that. But what I'm saying is, when you back a man into a corner and he doesn't see any way out, what do you want him to do? I'm not condoning it. Nobody should do it. personally, I can't think of another way that he could have fought. He's already done everything that I can come up with. He's already done.
I mean, that's what I've been saying. I don't agree with what he did, but I understand how he came to this point, because he really did try to. He tried to get this story out to people. He tried to get help from people. He even said it on my show. He may have said it on Joey's as well, but he reached out to local news reporters. He reached out to lawyers. He reached out to the police department even. He reached out to
his tribe.
He reached out to so many different outlets to try and get help, and he was either ignored, pushed to the side, or just, they said they couldn't help him. Like, he tried. He really did try. And I think that the rest of this clip is important to play. So let's play the rest of this, because this has to be sitting in the back of his mind when he's doing this clip.
If that's the case, then why don't you just take it off and allow me to get the proof that's needed?
Why would I do that?
So I can get the proof that I need?
Because I'll tell you why. Because our plan is, if we don't get a bid on it this year, we're going to sell it for $1,000 next year.
If a court finds...
I said it's highly unlikely somebody will bid on it.
Then it starts back
snotty
over.
attitude in her voice.
I said it was highly unlikely somebody would bid on it. Bitch, don't make me shove my foot up your ass.
As if he doesn't understand exactly what she said and the context behind it. He's able to read between the lines. He knows what she's doing. In my head, right? I don't know that this would be legally binding or whatever, but in my head, these people are like implicit to pushing a man to suicide.
They did. They literally did. They pushed him to commit suicide. I'm sorry. I'm not.
That's the importance of talk. Sorry. Go.
He felt there was no other option. This was it.
Yeah.
He did not see any other way out.
The important thing to talk about with this story is people are gonna try to claim that it was all him because he shouldn't have done what he did. But the ultimate tale here is this is what happens with too much government overreach that's not checked. And that's what people can't lose sight on. This is what you're going to see more of this. And you're going to see more of other sorts of sporadic, erratic attacks when government overreach continues to be the way that it is.
Well, and a large portion of the issue here, right? And I'm sure everyone on this panel agrees, is half of his issues wouldn't even exist if we just abolished property tax. Why is it that the government still forces you to rent out your property once you own it?
And why the fuck should the government have any say in my lawn, as long as it's not like so tall that it's a fire hazard, maybe, but even then it's like, you're gonna fine me because I prefer my grass tall. Why? The only reason why we started clearing grass in the first place, if you go back in the day, is because we didn't want the snakes to be able to hide and get your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Which is still a problem in California. I mean, I'm sure you know that, Sean. But
yeah, oh yeah.
We got a lot of snakes here.
Sorry. Yeah, I live a couple stones throw away from the river and have for most of my life. I've found 6-foot garter snakes in my yard, and I chased my sister with one when I was 14. You know what I mean? Like, I know. Yeah, 100%. But still, that's not a government thing. That's like, if you got a rattlesnake in your yard, you deal with it, your parents deal with it, or you face the consequences. And if somebody else is in my yard and gets bit by a snake that's in my yard, why are you in my yard? Get off my lawn.
Well, that goes back to the nanny state that so many people are begging for at this point. Why is it that the government's involved in a situation like that? Why is it that the government's involved in how close my tree leaves hang over to the sidewalk? Why is it that they're involved in how tall my grass is? Why is it that they're involved in all these things? There's currently a law that they're trying to pass in California, Sean, that for shorter people, you have to they're going to require that shorter people be in car seats in California.
What?
Well,
okay. Any age.
Okay.
Define shorter. Are we talking like 3'2"?
Okay, so I have a friend who is.
That's silly anyway.
4'11". No, I actually have a friend who is 4'11", and she weighs 100 pounds dripping wet on a good day. In order for her to drive, her husband had to take 3 yellow pages, duct tape them together, and then duct tape a pillow on top of it so she could sit up and see over the steering wheel. So I am okay with that. If you are a certain weight
This
in
is
a
for
certain
passengers,
height,
though, Nora.
you need a booster.
This is for passengers.
I'm not okay with the passenger. Okay, well, I can understand the passenger because of the seatbelt. I was in a car accident when I was a kid, and I had really bad whiplash because of the seatbelt coming up and cracking me on the neck. So
Yeah, but I
could
don't even agree with
understand that.
seatbelt laws. Like if I choose not to wear a
Right.
seatbelt, that's my choice.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Nora, like I understand the sentiment that you're coming from, but the way that I'm looking at it is like you can't protect someone from themselves
no.
for very
You can't.
long.
No,
Well,
you
You
can't
know,
fix stupid. I know that.
well, that's
I know you can't fix stupid, but
like what
but and make a car like if there's that many short people to where it's actually an issue. Like I got my sister is 4'11 and a half, and she gets pissy if you don't acknowledge that half inch. You know, it's significant. But if you don't if there are that many short people, then maybe there's a market for businesses um to make cars that have pedals that are closer to the seat. You know what I'm saying?
well, they do. Some of them have it where the pedals can come out and come closer to you.
Yeah, but you don't punish people for being short. That's so stupid. Now what is it? What is it next? Like your eyes are blue, so you have to have prescription windshield installed on your vehicle because the sun
Protect your
hurts your
eyeballs.
eyes more than
Hey, I
everybody
need
else.
that.
Like,
Can I
don't I
get,
know it?
Yeah, can I steal some of your taxes, Sean, so you can help pay for that?
bro, only if I get to steal your taxes first.
Oh,
You know,
yes, of
it's-
course. Go
It's
ahead,
a
Joe.
similar thing. You got to turn auto gain off. I just remembered, but it's a similar thing that I was talking about last night, where I was mentioning how a lot of these laws essentially get made up because the government is inconvenienced by people squabbling, so they're going to take a situation and apply a rule to the situation where not every situation is going to be the same as this situation before, but it's all going to have the same rule. It's just like the vaccine mandates. Always one size fits all for their convenience. That's all it ever is. The government exists because these groups of people have come together because they're tired of the petty people squabbling, and they're going to come up with these rules for their convenience, not our convenience. But they call themselves public servants. That's the game. That's the manipulation game.
Yeah, and then it's an expansion of the homeowners association idea where, oh, my property value is going down because your property doesn't look up to my standards. Therefore, you have to abide by my standards or you get punished and your house gets taken away.
Precisely.
Like there's value to people taking care of their houses. There's value to booster seats for short people. There's value to putting in, windshields that don't amplify light straight into your eye. Sure, but should it be mandated, or should it just let the market decide? People want it.
We're far past this point though, because we're at the point now where if people can't afford health insurance, they get fined at the end of the year when they do their taxes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I've always loved that. Like, you get pulled over by a cop, or like you can't afford something, right? And then they're like, oh, you can't afford that? You know what you can afford? This ticket. Here you go.
Right.
And then it just digs them deeper.
Can I pay for this ticket in EBT, Ossifer?
Ossifer, can I pay for it in my tax-funded EBT? Honestly, I would be more okay with that than them buying sugary sodas and shit. Like, look, don't get me wrong, I love my sodas, but if I was on Snap, I'm not buying soda. Like, I'm buying water and fucking like actual food.
Yeah,
Dude,
imagine
water's more expensive than soda half the time.
Jesus, you're right.
Maybe where you live, not for me. I can get a case of 40 for like $4.
It depends on the size of the water, but water could be more expensive than some of those fucking drinks.
Sodas are expensive where I'm at, though, dude. It's $11 a case.
Jesus.
Yeah, so water's far cheaper, at least where I'm at.
Inflation in the last 20 years, man, is crazy, man.
Sodas used to be half that. Sodas used to be half that price.
Yeah,
when I was a
did
kid,
water. And do you get the cheap water? It was like $2 to $4 a case, and now the cheap water is like $6 a case. And then you want the actual good water, and it's like $10 a case.
Our
Yeah.
sergeant tells you to put a spigot on a glacier or something.
You still got to worry about, microbes and shit like that. So
Put it in
boil
a bucket and then get a water filter.
Boil it, filter it. You can get this. Come on.
In California, the
America
I
first.
don't
Make
know,
American sodas affordable again.
right? What is that? Massa?
Massa?
Massa.
Oh, Massa.
Massa. I'm all for Massa.
The way that sodas work in California, especially, and if this is you two in the chat, let us know. Also, you, Nora, Joey, if this is true for you, I'm not sure Joey can hear me. He just walked away. But in California, when you buy a can or a bottle, they upcharge you like the cost that you would get refunded if you recycle your bottles or your cans. So you're actually not
theoretically supposed to get it back.
right. But the point is that the point I'm trying to make is that you used to be rewarded for it. Now you're punished for not.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a buddy
that rolls right back into the nanny state stuff, dude. We're at the point now where like they punish you for not doing the good thing.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so bad. Like I have a buddy that works for a like a drink distribution company, right? I'm not going to name it, but they have, and this is kind of hilarious in a way, some of it anyway. He's been injured and he's on like minor duty stuff, but what they have him doing right now, and I'm not joking, I'm looking you straight in the eye. They have him spending 8 hours a day dumping Prime, the sports drink, down the drain because it's recalled and nobody will buy it, and they're not allowed to recycle those bottles because nobody paid the California CRV, the cash refund value.
We got a Rumble rant from Fishy. He said, well water with a UV plus super fine filter system plus salt tank. That's what he recommends.
Yeah, and I mean, you can use ash with sand, like the carbon itself is a carbon filter. If you take the ash, you take the charcoal. Yeah, just put the fire out, spray it with water, put the fire out and crush it, and you got yourself a charcoal filter. And then layer that shit with sand. You'll get almost everything out.
Everything is a scam. I want to get back. I want to get back to Carl's story. We have another clip from the county clerk that everyone loves. So let's listen to more of her.
No. What I'm telling you is that when they add all these fines in, it adds so much to it that I can't afford it. You look at the history and you see year after year after year after year after year, I've been paying in lump sum when it comes due. And there's never been a problem. It's never been shut off. Then all of a sudden, they shut it off and start fining me. And they fine me so much that I can't afford it.
Excessive fines,
and
what they did in 2017 and paid off $13,000. But
there you go.
Then that year you got a default again.
No. Okay,
that's
but it went right back to the same pattern. And that's the whole thing is I've been doing my... No.
Right, and like Sean just said, that's the whole thing right there. He was paying it off, but then they would just ignore it and continue to fine him for things that weren't actual issues.
Yeah, they came up with an issue, find it. Go ahead. They came up with an issue, find it like it was his issue, and when he's like, "It's not my issue," then they just ignored it. This is what they can do to you. So people hear stories like this and they go, "Oh, if that was actually happening, it would be on the news."
No, it won't. They keep it from the nose. They keep it because they don't want people to know that this is going on. They want you to be willfully ignorant. They don't want you to know that this can and will happen to you.
Listen, this has to be, we can't memory hold this because everyone wants to talk about, oh, well, the right would beat the left in a civil war. And it's like, no, not when they ignore shit like this happening.
Yeah, well, if you're crushed to the point where you can't actually participate in said civil war, then the odds have been skewed.
How are you going to win a civil war when you're not even going to believe people on your own side about something like this happening? If this was a leftist and this was happening in a Republican state, they would be rallying the next day.
So not even trying to do this as a shameless plug, but you guys are recognizing right now, hopefully in the audience, that your local news is not going to cover it when your government screws you over. So Tyler,
or if they
Joey,
do,
and I,
or if they do, they'll only give the government's side of the story.
Right. Mm-hmm. So make Tyler famous. Make it so that he can afford to pay all of his bills using the process of bringing real news to you. Make Joey famous. Make it so that make me famous. Make it so that us sharing real news to you, bringing you actual information and explaining it in a way with no propaganda spin, can pay our bills, please, because this is important. This is what we have, and we have set out to do. But we all got stuff. We all got responsibilities we have to take care of. And the more we get for this stuff, the more time we can put into it. It would be nice to hire a crew. Like, it would be nice if, let's say instead of clips, like somebody else could be paid to do the clips instead of asking for volunteers or us putting in, 30, 40 hours a week and not having a real check from it. This is important stuff, and the world will crush you if you don't if you don't back up behind this stuff. You don't support the stuff that is trying to back you up.
You know what? It's like Savannah Hernandez, who started InfoWars. It's like all she needs is a person to hold the camera, and she'll conduct interviews. Like, I'm not asking for a media empire. I don't want no fucking media empire, bro. I don't want any of that shit. But if I could get 2 or 3 people to help out consistently and expand things and do more, maybe I can actually rearrange my apartment to have a decent looking setup. I don't know, but like I don't even like talking to Tyler yesterday about some things that unscrupulous characters are saying. Like, I don't even like want the fame and adulation, dude. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do because we're at an inflection point. And if nobody's going to stand up, if people with more means aren't going to stand up and do what they're supposed to do, as society is going through what they're going through, then I guess I have to do it. And I don't necessarily want to be in that position. It's crazy that somebody who's had the life that I've had has to be in that position. But if nobody's going to have the fucking intestinal fortitude to do it, well, then I guess we have to do it.
It just takes one voice.
Well,
just one.
And 1,000 or and 1 million people to share that voice. Yeah, 100%.
As I've said to Joey, I mean, the goal of the channel has never been to get famous. I don't care for people knowing my name like that. I don't care for I see the way that a lot of these bigger influencers behave, and if that's what fame and money gets me, I don't want it. This has always been an outlet for me. That's what it's going to continue to be. And if people watch and hang out and have conversations with me, great. If they don't, I would still be doing this if no one watched. This is an outlet for me. I just want to have conversations with people. But then you have other people where there's real shit like this. Real shit like this happens, and then you get comments from people like, "Oh, aren't you worried about getting backlash? Or aren't you worried about them coming for you now?" And it's like, no, I'm not worried about that because I don't have any. What is there to worry about? That all I'm doing is talking about the news. I'm just talking about things and having conversations with people. If people want to come after me for that, go ahead. Come have a conversation. Come prove me wrong or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, on a kind of zoomed out level, like, I grew up poor as hell. My family's been broken since like the 90s. They've been coming at me my entire life. They just have been doing it in these weasel squirm around directions where that's a whole different tangent, but like, they've been trying to crush anybody that will speak the truth for a lot longer than I've been alive. So, I mean, why I'm actually stepping up and being like, despite the fact that I know that they might eventually, if I say these things, I'm going to speak the truth anyway. And I agree with you. Like, I'm not saying make him famous for the sake of being famous. I'm saying make these things be heard. And
these
the way
stories
that you
should be
do
heard,
that,
yeah.
right. And the way that you do that is for these videos to go viral and whatnot. So like, the fame is kind of like a unfortunate byproduct in my eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't desire that level of fame. It would be torture trying to play basketball at the park if everybody knew who I was, other than what happened to people I play basketball with. But it just
everyone knows who Joey Cannoli is. I heard you're in an article today, Joey.
Oh, what wonderful!
How wonderful!
I can't wait for my mom to find that one.
Find an article about how you interviewed a guy who ended up blowing up his house.
Yeah, that see, just saying it like that would.
Oh yeah, no, she wouldn't take that very kindly.
No, that's why I don't like to. I don't want them to know what I'm doing.
I would like to believe, I don't know your mom, but I would like to believe that her initial reaction may be like, what the hell did you do? But then once she actually understands the context, she's going to be like, oh, okay, you
No.
did good, son.
No, because of the circumstances of my former life, she would want me to just play it safe, and I don't want to play it safe, and that's a clash that frequently happens.
I get you.
So I want to move over to the actual article in question. This will be the last thing that we talk about today. It is a little bit of a longer article, so we'll try to get through most of it at least. But it talks about Karl's life and things that led up to the moment. What I will say about this article is that it's not painting the full picture. This more so paints the picture of who Karl was, some of his family life, and the view of the situation from the government's lens. So basically, this is the story of what the government viewed happened. But I'm being generous to the reporter here, but he did leave out almost all of the claims that Karl makes on his ex and on the interviews that Joey and I did. However, the article doesn't necessarily need to include that because it does link to both Joey and I's interview. So
you know what we should do, Tyler? I don't know how we'll be able to do this, but we should try to get him on.
The reporter?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I mean, I have his number.
I want to know why he wrote it from the angle that he wrote it, because there were some things.
We don't need to grill him on it either. Just
No.
yeah.
I'm not gonna.
I didn't say we weren't. I'm just saying. Sad.
I have questions on why he chose to write in the tone of voice that he did and what led him to those conclusions to write in that tone of voice to begin with, because every interaction that I ever had with Karl doesn't lead me to feel the way that he was alluding to in the article. And it did upset me in a little bit. Facts don't care about feelings. I get that. But at the same time, when you're painting somebody's life and you're purposely picking every single negative thing that's ever happened in somebody and you're throwing it in an article, especially after they're dead, I think it's a little tactless. But again, that's me.
I do agree with Nora to an extent, but I also do appreciate that he like I said, he in the article he recommends that people go and watch the interview that he did with me. So Karl can speak for himself in that regard at least, even though he's no longer with us. So I do recommend that everyone go and watch that interview. I feel as though it would give you a lot more context for this stream as well.
Yeah. Tyler's is more X's and O's, and I was kind of just letting him vent his frustrations, basically. Like
both excellent though. They're both excellent to get more information about his situation.
If this is E Hollywood True Stories, it'd be part 1 and part 2.
Right.
But
so here we have the article. This is from the Sacramento Bee. It was written by Graham Womack, which is the reporter that contacted me last week. Karl Lysinger blew up his Oak Park house and died. Here's what led to that moment. And then here's another video. This is it's got some clips that we've already seen chopped up with some ones that we haven't. So let's watch this.
Around 6:15 this morning, our units were dispatched to a residential structure fire. At that point, there was multiple explosions that were being heard throughout the time of dispatch. And once our units arrived on scene, when they got here, there was one house fully involved with fire at that point. So they kind of wrote that one off. We couldn't save that house. We need to save the others surrounding it. They did, however, make a knockdown on that main fire building as well as the surrounding buildings. And at that point, it was discovered that there was a deceased individual at the main fire building. So we're just right now investigating what happened. We're just trying to get everyone kind of out of the area so we can slow this scene down, make sure the fire's out, and then do a full investigation.
We were on the next street, and my children were in the shower, and everything just fell off the counter, and we just heard like a big old boom, and everybody came outside, and then you just see a bunch of smoke, everything flying in the air. So it was pretty scary. I'm not sure like what caused it, but I just know that like when the whole house shook, I came outside and I just seen that like that there was smoke in the air, everything flying in the air from the house on fire, and
the house is gone. It's destroyed. And something I want to add here is the whole part of the main issue here is that the county lines that they drew up said that it was on 2 parcels of land. What I want to add is that my grandmother, like, this isn't a massive property. Like, we're not talking about someone who has multiple acres of land. We're literally talking about a neighborhood house with, like, it's not that big of plots of land is what I'm saying. Like, the plot, like, basically his house is as big as mine. Like, and that's like if they claimed that, a majority of my backyard was no longer ours. And the reason I bring up my grandmother is her property is probably like 10 times as big as this. And I couldn't imagine someone coming in and being like, hey, you know that property you own? I guess you don't. We've been fining it and taxing it to oblivion without your knowledge.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Because we're not even talking about like a massive property. We're not talking about some like farmland in the middle of nowhere that wasn't fenced off. We're literally talking about this dude who lives in between a bunch of different houses in a neighborhood, and they just all of a sudden arbitrarily decide, oh yeah, you don't own that parcel. It's ridiculous.
Again, I want to know what development is going on in that area because I have questions.
It could be as simple as BlackRock wanted it, like.
Yeah.
And he refused to sell, yeah. And I mean, like, sorry, just real quick, Joey. It's basically eminent domain without the terms so that it'll fly under the radar.
Yep.
I think the sad reality is that Ian's probably correct in the chat, though. Most people aren't going to care about this, unfortunately.
I mean, I responded to him in the chat. I'm sure that there are stories similar to this happening all over the country, and that's part of the reason I wanted to talk about it today. Not only because I interviewed Karl, but I guarantee if you look hard enough, there's similar stories like this that we don't know the full stories of people ending their lives because the government came and took their properties. Over BS fines and property taxes, which property tax, again, should be abolished in all 50 states. I know the federal government can't necessarily do anything because it is a state's power, but if we were ever to amend the Constitution, I would hope that that's included. I know that's a fucking pipe dream, but, a man can dream.
But you know what? The federal will decide when they want to interfere with the state constantly, and it's like now they decide, well, can't do it for this one. It's like it's always some sort of cop out. When have they cared about government overreach? They do it all the time.
Yeah, laws for me and not for, or laws for thee, but not for me.
Yeah, Constitution's Swiss cheese, and they cut holes into it wherever they want.
You know what the Constitution's like? It's like one of them John Wick movies or something where he's holding up like one of the guys and using him as a shield, and he just keeps getting shot at, and he's fucking shot full of holes. That's what this shit is like. It's just a dead body with bullet holes in it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And let's play the rest.
It's a joke. If you ever hear politicians invoking the Constitution, they're full of it. They're just.
No, it's just it's just a political thing at this point.
Just a talking.
We don't have any politicians that are constitutionalist at this point.
We have a couple that are damn close,
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't disagree that the way that it's being applied right now is not the way that it's written, but like on a real fundamental level, we should make efforts to go back to it.
We should,
how much
I don't know how we do that now.
How much of this is actually true? Our sergeant says that they're putting in, that he heard that they're putting in a new Indian burial ground.
I think
he's probably making a joke.
I think
that's like. Well, yeah, because it's like,
because he is Indian.
They already started. They already got the first one there.
Yeah, no, I think he's making jokes, and they're also speculating about how the fire could have happened or the explosions could have happened.
Yeah, well, I have a good feeling on how the fire.
There's a few ways it could have been multiple different methods that he used, but again, we don't have to. At the end of the day, that's not the important part. The important part is how we got here. And why he did this.
And the important part is that we lost a life because of all this.
Yeah.
There's a loss of life.
Because of things like your grass not growing fast enough.
And property taxes.
Right. Property taxes that were being placed on a parcel that was split unlawfully, maybe legally, but not lawfully. And if you don't understand the difference, DM me. It's important.
And then let's play the rest of this clip so we can get to the article.
Everybody outside and people's windows broke, and everybody's dogs was just running around scared, and there was just a bunch of people out here like just scared. Me personally, I don't know if this sounds crazy, but I felt like something fell out of the sky, and I thought we could be at war or something. So I'm not sure. It was really scary.
Oh, you're at war, right?
Boom, smoke, lots of people. Very scary. Very scary.
So that's the video that he has highlighted in the article. So the article goes on to say, weeks before he died, Karl Lysinger opened up about why he felt about what he felt he was facing. On July 28th, Lysinger was about 4 months past having his longtime home of 3975 39th Street in Sacramento sold at tax auction by the county. The sale followed several years of Lysinger being cited for code violations by the city and being in default with the county over his property taxes. Lysinger, who claimed he was being legitimately targeted by the city and county, had been trying to raise awareness of his situation online. A brief call-in show to Rumble for right-wing social media personality Tim Pool, who has 2.5 million followers on X, preceded an interview with Tyler Ritenour, who hosts a Rumble show, Tyler Today News. I want everybody to know what happened, Lysinger told Ritenour. The damage to society from me is zero. And that is something that he hits home on in the interview. What is it that the city's finding? What harm to society is this retired old man doing by not cutting his grass at a regular pace, by having his windows boarded after the county told him to board them? Like, what harm to society is this man causing to the point where you need to remove him from his household?
Yeah, and corpus delicti, the body of a crime, requires that somebody is damaged. Yeah. There has to be 3 things present in order for a crime to be occurring. There has to be somebody who received damages, somebody who is doing damages, and there has to be like evidence of the damage.
Sounds like what they did to Karl is a crime, but you know.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going for. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, it sounds like what they did to him was a crime, and it sounds like he didn't necessarily do anything wrong. And again, you know, if you don't pay your property taxes, this is what happens. But that's even besides the point. Because how is he supposed to pay for property taxes that he didn't even know he was supposed to pay for until years later? And then now he's trying to make payments on them, and they're literally telling him either that it's not enough or that they won't accept the payment.
And before anybody says, how could you not know that you had property taxes, they split his parcel illegally.
And they didn't send him the notice that he had 2 parcels, even though it shares the same address. They did not send him the little slip that you get, depending on the county. They give you a card that says your property value and your taxes due for that year. Some of them are letters. But he never got that. He only got it for 1 parcel, not 2.
Yeah, and it's not like he was purposefully avoiding taxes or fines. He was only paying for what he thought he needed to pay. He was unaware of these additional fines and taxes on this supposed other parcel that he owned, when they're literally, his house sits on both plots of land. Like, it should just be considered one property that gets taxed and fined the same as the other one would. But then they split it up and then didn't tell him.
And he even said that the property lines weren't even, and like a quarter of the house sat on one property line while the remainder of the house sat on the other.
Well, even the county
So
clerk
he had a
acknowledged
portion
it.
of his yard and a portion of the house. And we were even saying, well, you know, why don't you live in that portion of the house that they say is yours?
Yeah.
Right. And then they say, like, that's what that video, that's the main significance of that first clip we played, because they said because the house is partially on that second plot, nobody's probably going to bid on it. But that's why they were going to go sell that plot for $1,000. But then once you have bought a house that has a quarter of somebody else's house on it, that house is partially yours now because it's on your plot of land, and they gave that person the other plot. So whoever that is bought a house for $1,000.
Well, actually, it says in the article how much it sold for.
$131.
Yeah, it does say how much that they auctioned it off for, but again, Karl even mentions it in the interview. There's a house down the street that sold for $450,000. His house got auctioned off for, I believe it was $130,000 or $160,000.
I thought it was 131.
Something it'll say in the article later on here, but so someone did place quite a high bid on it. But there should have never been an
value.
auction. There shouldn't have been an auction. They should have, once the county realized, oh crap, we messed up and we have been taxing and fining this guy on a property he didn't even know that we split, and then they should have just waived all the fines and fees. Like, all right, we'll start anew, wash our hands of this. Our bad. Sorry for the confusion. Instead, they were like, nope, actually, we didn't mess up. The properties are separate, and you owe all of it, or we're taking everything.
I think the key there is no, they didn't mess up. This was the strategy. Everything except that last moment. This was intentional.
Yeah.
Certainly seems that way. So the article reads on here, not once in the 1 hour and 22-minute interview did Lysinger tell Rittenauer he was planning to blow up his house in just over 3 weeks in an explosion that would claim his life. The Sacramento Bee reported at the time that the explosion came on the day, August 21st. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office was due to evict Lysinger. The Sacramento County coroner has since ruled his death a suicide. There were hints even in late July that not all was well, with Lysinger telling Rittenauer, "My mind's actually going crazy because of the stress." Nearly 3 months after Lysinger's death, his story is many things. Unusual, a cautionary tale, and a long case study in what can make a person wind up homeless after having stable housing. But the missed warning signs about his suicide are perhaps the most haunting. Losing his house. For different reasons, Lysinger's story is uncommon, starting with how rarely people in Sacramento County lose their home through tax auction. The county held tax auctions in February and May, with Lysinger's house one of just 7 properties that sold between both auctions this year. The county auctioned 18 properties in 2024. Lysinger, who was 62 when he died, spoke to Rittenauer on July 28th. He said he was facing eviction any day and possibly becoming a homeless senior citizen. This would place him in a sizable cohort locally of the 6,615 people identified as experiencing homelessness without shelter in Sacramento County during the most recent count in 2024. About 1,300 of these people were 55 or older. That's insane. That there's that many older homeless people. Lysinger's,
Yeah.
It's a massive problem in California, and it part of the issue there, right, is how many people wouldn't be homeless if we lowered taxes and abolished property tax? How many people wouldn't be homeless if we removed or lowered the minimum wage?
How many people would actually be able to afford a home?
Right.
Yeah.
And
all these problems are inflicted on by the government, who does things out of the sake of their own convenience.
Yeah, and all these different things coincide to culminate in situations like this. Property taxes, raising minimum wage to the point where places fire people, or they don't hire as many people, and then people can't look for jobs anymore. There's so many different stories. I know so many people in California right now struggling to find work because places aren't hiring right now. They're just working with the bare minimum. Bare minimum amount of employees that they can to get by. And even then, even if you do get a job, it's probably not going to be full-time here in California. No one wants to hire full-time right now. You know why? Because in California, they require you to give so many different benefits to people that work full-time, like health insurance and all kinds of stuff, which, don't get me wrong, I want health insurance if I'm working full-time. But it makes it to where these companies just don't hire full-time workers. They'll hire you part-time, and then you have to get 2-3 jobs.
And if you didn't have forced government-mandated health insurance, the health insurance costs wouldn't be as high as they are anyway.
That too.
It's a problem that keeps begetting itself.
So many different issues that circle back onto each other that increase the struggle for everybody. It's all by design. It's all on purpose at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And what they do domestically is what they do internationally. Cause a problem and need to be the solution. It's what they do all the time.
And I want to highlight this here. Lysinger had purchased his house in 1996 from his older brother, Randall Lysinger, who had bought the house in 1980. According to county records, the house had an assessed value of only $41,000 of the 20 that I'm not talking about in 1980. 2024 and 2025 tax year, after factoring in a standard exemption for homeowners. They pulled what they pulled on Trump. Remember when Mar-a-Lago was assessed for way fucking lower than it was supposed to be? So they came to this guy's house and they were like, "Oh yeah, that house right there, we know that one just sold down the block for upwards of $400,000, but your house, your property, 41,000."
It's all corrupt, man.
And then they use that to add towards the fines and the auctioning and stuff like that, because they're selling your house off So if your house is only worth $41,000, but you owe over $100,000 in fines, guess who still owes over $60,000 after we take your house from you?
All right. Are we done with the article? I wanted to answer something Ian said.
Yeah, go ahead. What's called? I encourage everyone to go and check out the article. The last thing we'll add on the article is that the winning bid for his property was $151,000.
Oh, 151, not 131. I was close.
Yeah,
right.
You could put it in chat and then pin it probably.
I'll
but
do that, yeah.
something Ian said. He said, question for y'all. What are we supposed to he said, yeah, what are we supposed to do about this? What do you guys recommend your audience do? I mean, as controversial as it sounds for me, I just, I think we can't vote our way out of this. I don't really see how it's possible based off of the patterns that people find themselves in when it comes to voting. So I think the only thing I would tell people is to, you're either going to be 100% locked in, or you just don't engage at all and don't vote either. That's what I would say is don't even participate in the system. If there's mass noncompliance, then they won't be able to come after everybody, and people just have to stand firm on that, or else there's gonna, it's gonna lead to something else. Because I don't see what else we can do. I really don't.
And I do agree with Joey for the most part. The only issue is that it's incredibly difficult to get to that point of mass non-compliance. That the government can't just play whack-a-mole. One of us sprouts up and we start talking back. We start pushing back. We stop complying with their idiocracy, and they play whack-a-mole. They whack you down and then they move on to the next person that tries it too.
Yeah, and that's where I mentioned to the right that you're not going to win this civil war because you don't even pay attention to the culture war. When moments like this happen, this should add evidence or contribute to the, quote, 1776 moment of saying, that's it, we're not going to participate in this system anymore. Yeah. I don't know what else to say, because that's what the founding fathers did first. They said, we don't get a seat at parliament, we're going to make our own parliament.
Well, they wrote a lot of grievance letters to the king before then. And I mean, I know there's the whole meme of write a letter, but you should be speaking to your representative. You should be making sure that they are being held accountable as best you can. Start local, start small, and put more emphasis in your local sheriff than you do into your local police chief, because they're appointed. They're not actually, they don't swear the allegiance to the Constitution the same way your sheriff does. And if you don't have a good sheriff, then you don't really have law.
Well, what was one of the major grievances of the American Revolution? Taxation without representation.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. And this man was being taxed ridiculously and not being represented.
But that goes for all of us, though, Sean. It's not just an issue with Karl.
I agree.
You guys talked about it on Joey's show yesterday. We are taxed for literally everything we do. Every step of the way you try to live your life, you're getting taxed for what you drive. You're getting taxed for continuing to drive. You're getting taxed for buying a car. You're getting taxed for owning a house. You're getting taxed for renting a house. You're getting taxed for making money. You're getting taxed for spending money. You get taxed for literally everything.
Food. You pay a tax on food, and then they have a sales tax on top of that. So anytime that you purchase anything, food, clothing, you name it, you are still getting taxed.
And that's not even counting the taxes along the way when they are manufacturing some of these products or packaging the food for you. All of those places get taxed too.
And when you try to skate around that, they will come after you. But when their big buddies in business do, these unsavory tactics, they get bailed out.
Yep.
Of course.
They get bailed out every time because we need them or it might collapse. It's no, maybe the reason that everything is as bad as it is because of them. They act like we need these kings. We need these kings because if there's no Walmart, then how will people fucking buy their groceries? Oh, I don't know. Maybe people will fill in the market out of necessity. People are going to go, where can I go to buy food? Where can I go to buy food? And then Larry down the block with his farm's I guess I'll open up a market. And then people go buy food. We figure it out. This country was able to figure this shit out before all this stuff, before big business, before these big mega banks, before these big mega corporations. We somehow figured it out.
We didn't need the Department of Education. We didn't need the Federal Reserve. We didn't
People
need
were
all
going
these
to college
things.
at like 15 back in the day. Now, like, you got to stay in school until you're like 25 now. We're not learning anything more significant, man. I'm telling you.
And when you graduate, you try to get a job and you apply for an entry-level position that says you need 3 years experience in this and 2 years experience in that, which by definition is not entry-level. So like one of the answers would be use whatever influence that you have to correct that system. Like if you are a hiring manager, for example, actually label your stuff properly. It's not entry level if you're requiring years worth of experience. Tyler and I talked about this like 2 weeks ago, where if you're a 16-year-old trying to get your first job, you're already 3 or 4 years behind your father where he was when he got his first job, right? And then you now need you're applying for an entry level position, but you can't get it because the foreigners are being given it with their H-1B visa to work at 7-Eleven running a cashier or put Subway sandwiches together.
Yeah. Talent that we don't have.
Right, exactly. You have to exercise the authority that you do have. It is not just something that you should do. The Constitution says it's your duty to claim every right and utilize them. And
and even if
we
you
are
have the
we as a
degrees-
nation sorry, just one quick last sentence. We as a nation are grossly lacking in people who are willing to uphold the space and defend the space that they are occupying, protect the space, defend the people around you, stop yes, family first, but stop running from the fight when somebody near you is being attacked. That's kind of what we're trying to do here. We're just small scale.
And
shout out to Tyler for putting this together. Shout out to Joey for hosting that interview as well.
And this is what, Tyler and I did in other places. I mean, I'm not going to like hold the line out of if something's wrong, I'm going to point it out. And more people need to be like that.
Yeah.
It's hard when it's
not your space.
Far too many people
but if it is.
Far too many people get distracted by just life, and they don't realize, they get stressed out by all these different things. Like right now, a big worry for people is being able to afford things. But instead of looking at the actual reasons they can't afford things, they rather just complain about the wages that they're earning. When we are making more money than any generation ever has before us in this country. But why is that money not going as far as it should? Why is that money not worth what it used to be worth? These people don't look at that stuff, though. All they think about is, bread is $7, $8, $10 now. I need a raise. I need higher wages. They don't think about how taxes affect the procurement of that. They don't think about how trade with other countries might affect that. They don't think about the other outlying circumstances that raises the price on all these things. Just think about how much better off people would be if we removed half of taxes. If we got every tax and we cut it in half. Just think about how much better the country would be right now. So many people would be lifted out of poverty just from that. But people don't think about that. And as Missy pointed out in the chat earlier, instead of taxes, though, people would rather bitch about minimum wage and wages. That's exactly it. And when I worked at Albertsons, I would constantly remind people of that, because they would sit there and tell me this was back when they were voting on the $25 minimum wage for fucking fast food workers, which will be in effect fully by 2028 or 2030, something like that. But it goes up a little bit every year right now, which makes it harder to get these fast food jobs because everyone wants to work fast food now because they're the higher paying jobs. And then it makes everything more expensive. Have fun getting a $20 combo meal at Carl's Jr., guys.
Right. And if you have a job and you are $1 or $2 above minimum wage, you're not going to be there for long. Minimum wage will catch up to you, and the business can't afford to give everybody raises across the board. You just have to address the fact that what is it, Joey? 3,100 something %? We were talking about this yesterday.
$100.
Yeah.
$100 in 1913 is now $3,331. crazy.
So it doesn't matter how many dollars you're getting paid an hour. The purchasing power is collapsing because people are chasing the idea of, oh, I just need a higher number rather than like
my number needs to go further. My dollar
it.
needs to go further. They don't think about the dollar going further. They think about having more dollars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
more but this is like, people need to understand that the people who push these policies and tell you that it's good for you are the same people that want automation. That's all they want to do is, like I said this, I think I said it last night, Nora, but like, first it was slavery, then it was import Chinese workers to replace the Irish workers, and then it was import this worker to replace this worker because we're going to undercut them every time. And now it's import the Latin Americans to replace our worker, and we're going to undercut them every time. The next step is replace them with robots, and then we don't need them anymore.
And then
why do you think they're doing Indians and then they're going to do robots?
And then Shitty Gov has another angle from this. All of the raising of the minimum wage in this country has also absolutely destroyed the merit-based wage increases that people have earned. Shitty Gov points out in the chat, mandatory minimum wage effectively wiped out 10 years of me actually earning my raises based on merit. So thanks, you lazy fags, for fucking up my hard work with your brain-dead votes, you effing shithead. Dude, I'd be pissed about that, too. You work at a place for 10 plus years and you're earning these raises, and then all of a sudden this fucking 20-year-old comes walking in and he's making the same as much as you're making, even though he started right at the bottom.
One of these issues
happened to me, man. You're not alone in that. Go ahead, Joey. I'm sorry.
Some of these issues, and whenever we do our series ranking the best and the worst presidents, you're gonna take this one into consideration. But a lot of these things coincided at very similar times: minimum wage, taxation, Federal Reserve. So all these different webs inside the spider web, all these connective tissues all seem to happen around a similar time. And it's all contributing facts, like these child labor laws too. A lot of these jobs that these illegals take are jobs that 15, 16, 17-year-olds should be doing to get work experience, either during the weekends when they're not at school, or at the summertime, or if they choose not to continue with school. Because you know what? You used to be able to actually make it without being in college. And I know it's a TV show, so when I give the example from Mad Men, but like one of the main characters is like, yeah, I didn't get my high school diploma. And like, you could just become a big businessman back then without getting a high school diploma. But nowadays you have to have a diploma for literally anything.
Well, and what I point out constantly, Joey, is what happened to schools having all these programs that, for example, a lot of schools don't have auto shop anymore. So learning to work on cars at school. They don't have wood shop anymore, learning how to make things with wood, make a little birdhouse and lock boxes and stuff like that. There used to be schools that taught children welding.
How many times have I complained that we need to start implementing trades back into schools?
Trades back in schools need to be a mandatory thing across the country.
Again.
You guys don't get it though,
bro. I took one of the last.
Go ahead, Joey.
Don't get it.
Yeah, I took one of the last years that my school had wood shop, and they don't do it anymore.
You guys don't understand.
What are we missing, Joey?
You can't be allowed to know how to do this stuff because there's a worker who's going to do that for you. You can't. You need to pay extra for somebody to do something for you, because if you knew how to do things on your own, it would be so much less expensive for you. And we can't have that. We need to drain you of everything. You must be drained of everything. We're going to suck all the blood out of you. We're going to attach leeches to every part of your fucking body and suck everything out of you until your will is crushed.
And Tim Pool has brought this up before, but what it really seems like, and Joey's kind of hitting on this point, so I'll just add to it. What it really seems like is our government, or maybe it's not our government, maybe it's the globalization of the world, but it really seems like they're trying to domesticate us. We are chickens in a coop. We are the wolves turning into dogs. We're being domesticated, is what it seems like at the end of the day. They don't want us to know how to make our own food. They don't want us to know how to build things. They don't want us to know how to fix our own things.
They started that with the whole monastery system. As soon as they changed our schooling system into a monastery system, what it did was it changed us to being good factory workers. Literally, follow the instructions. Sit there and just follow instructions. That is our whole entire schooling system. They teach us nothing. because they want us to be nothing. They want us to be good factory workers. They just want us to be able to fall in line. That's it. Why do you think they put all of the microplastics in our food? Because they're poisoning us, so we don't have the mental capacity to actually be able to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to point out the microplastics. You can point to the mercury they were shoving in people's vaccines.
That too. Any chance that they got, they are literally trying to dwarf us.
They want people to immediately follow orders, but not think down the line. They're building checker players, not chess players.
Checker players, and they don't want you to think independently. They want, and that's another thing with these right here, these cell phones. Why would I need to remember anything when I can just look it up? It's kind of like how, in school when they would encourage you not to use your calculator because they wanted you to know how to do it in your head. But then you had those kids that were like, I could just use my calculator. I don't have to know that. So then you have a bunch of idiots walking around that are like, oh, I'll just ask Chat GPT.
Just to kind of like add emphasis to what Joey's saying there, I took one summer class when I was 13 for woodshop, and then 25 something like that years later, 20 years later, somewhere between 20 and 25 years later, I bought a beat up house, and I myself, from being 13 years old in woodshop, had the skills to tear out the subfloor and do it myself. And like, I'm in a trailer, sure, but like, I was able to do that with a set of a simple hand, power tools, and one summer's worth of education. That's why they took that from you, because if you just had a few months, a month and a half, basically worth of experience in a wood shop, you could repair all your stuff.
But you know what? Sick of Shitty Gov says, teaching us to be wolves again. You know what? You should record those videos and you should let Tyler upload them on his channel. That'd be a great idea. Teaching people how to actually do shit again.
Here. You're welcome to use me as a platform if you don't want to use your own channel.
That's another thing Rumble needs is they need to have backlogs on shit like that.
And how to. Yeah.
How to
do again.
How to
Shitty Gov's video he posted today. Y'all should go check that out. He's taking his boy and teaching him how to track. He's teaching him how to look for blood stains and follow a deer that was, the neighbor's kid shot at and didn't get a clean shot. It worked out in the end, but that kind of stuff. It's like what Joey's saying. You got to teach.
People need to be taught how to do this again.
Yeah. 100%.
They don't know how to do. We've been taught how to do docile, unimportant things, but we need to relearn how to be independent creatures again. We don't. This is what I'm saying when I say don't vote or don't pay attention anymore. You need to be equipped with a skill set where you don't need to rely on their system.
Well, what was it? Rebel Joey and I last week went off about how important Votech is, and that we need to make sure that our children start learning skills as early as like 12, 13, 14, when they're physically and mentally capable of actually being able to hold a power tool. And if you look back to like the 1800s, kids as young as 5 were helping with farm equipment and heavy materials and different things like that. But I don't necessarily think that that's a great thing because of how many, child labor, this, that, and but they had skills. They were helpful.
My opinions on child labor.
We don't need a 5-year-old poet pulling,
well, that's
heavy equipment.
Yeah.
We don't need that. But at the same time, a 5-year-old could be sitting on your lap learning how to pull all the levers.
Child labor, this is something that they typically do is they stretch the definitions of words. I don't see a 15 or a 14-year-old working as child labor. I see it as person who's now hitting puberty. That's 14 to 17/18. You are learning what you need to learn to become an adult.
I agree.
So I think working a part-time job is fine. But nowadays you need to pay under the books if you want to, hey, little Johnny, you want to do a job for me? You want to learn how to earn a wage or whatever? Like, that's technically illegal to pay that kid. So you got a bunch of people who are acting essentially in the government's eyes, if they get light of this, as criminals because they're trying to teach a 15-year-old a hard day's work.
And it applies to minimum wage as well. You are, if you're in a state, I'm going to make up some numbers. I don't know where you live, right? If you're in a state, like like Tyler was saying, where the minimum wage is now $25 an hour to work, or it will be soon, to work at a fast food restaurant, and you walk up to the manager of that restaurant and you say, I will come clean your floors. It'll take me 20 minutes. I'll do it for $5. I'll do it. And then you go to a bunch of them, right? You have now created a criminal out of that person for agreeing to do that, because it's a crime in the state to pay less than minimum wage.
Yeah.
So you don't have the ability to negotiate your own costs anymore, which used to be fundamentally part of being, a functional human. And I also believe that, like, Nora, I agree with what you're saying. I just, like Joey said, I'm going to draw a slight distinction. Sending your 5-year-old off to work in a factory to mass produce things is not the same as having your 5-year-old, help you stock the shelves in the back of your restaurant.
Well, and I fully agree with that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I said, having your 5-year-old sit on your lap and learning how to push the buttons and grabbing the steering wheel is different than putting your 5-year-old in charge of that machine by themselves.
And
See,
these kids,
they're stages.
These kids know how to adapt to things very easily. I see how they look when they look at these phones. They know their way around it. So phone is just a higher level of automation than what doing factory work is. So they'll figure that shit out too. You just need to guide them. You can't let, a phone's not going to cut your thumb off, so you need to guide them and they'll figure it out.
And if you start at 5, by 6 or 7 or 8, they'll be able to do it. There's already studies showing that, like, if you, like, let's say lived in the woods, right? No civilization. By 3 years old, your child would be able to recognize, like, they wouldn't be able to fight off predators, but by 3 years old, your child would safely be able to wander the woods and collect food and survive, as long as there's not predators.
Yeah.
Well, kids are not stupid.
How do you think a 7-year-old survived
idiots
in the wilderness over a week by himself? Because again, it can happen.
Right now, we treat people like they're retarded until they're until they're 17 years, 364 days, 23 hours, and 59 minutes. And then as soon as that clock turns to your 18th year,
you're an adult.
And you're liable for everything, and you'll be punished if you don't follow along. But when were you supposed to learn how to do it? Our whole system is designed around keeping you stupid until they can punish you for being stupid.
Oh, and not just that, it's also revolved around extending adolescence. I mean, how many people in the older generation still look at me as a child? I'm 24 going on 25, and they still look at me as a child.
Yeah,
well, not only that, but how many of our founding fathers were 24 writing our Constitution?
A lot of them are very young. Some of them are 19.
Exactly. So I'm sorry, but this whole notion that Tyler is still a child at the age of 24 is asinine to me, because of the sheer fact of how many of our founding fathers were actually writing our Constitution at the age of 24.
Right.
Make sense to me.
It
gotta wait your turn, young buck.
When
you gotta be 63. Yeah.
When you're 80.
Nancy Pelosi has to run it. You got to wait until you're 65 before you get a chance.
Guys, I'm supposed to just sit back and wait for the last 2 generations before me destroy the country. Then I can step up and rule the rubble. That's what my generation will get. We'll get the rubble.
Yeah.
It's like, if I'm not mistaken, I am the oldest on the panel right now, and depending on who you talk to, I am still considered a child.
What year were you born?
Yeah, I'll
not supposed to ask a woman that.
I'm treating you as an equal.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I'm a feminist. I'm all about equality.
That way. I look really good for my age.
Let's do it this way. I'm an 86 baby, so you can gauge it from there. Like, I look a lot younger than I am, but I'm 39, so.
Well.
She's not gonna say, Sean. It's
nope,
okay. No,
she don't have to. She don't have to.
I'm going to message you, Sean, but no, not gonna say it.
But anyway,
it's very clear that I'm the youngest on the panel anyway. So.
Oh yeah, mentally and yeah.
Joey's clearly the youngest, mentally at least. Anyway,
physically.
Wait,
what do you mean?
That dog in the background is on the panel technically right now, and
so the dog. The dog.
She is the youngest, yeah, and she has a weapon. I don't know if you see, she has a weapon.
That's true. She's flailing it around.
She has a weapon, so.
She's taking after you with the Valheim.
Right, yeah, she's gonna help me play some Valheim later. That's what's going on there. Anyway, I want to get closing thoughts from everybody. We went a lot longer than I was hoping to. But that's fine. We had an excellent conversation today. We could go longer, but I need to go take care of some stuff today. So we'll do closing thoughts from everybody. Joey, you were last in. You want to be first out, or are you going last out?
I'll go last out. I was thinking about just starting playing a game right now. I'm not sure.
Well, then you can go first if you want to go set up your stream while we're doing closing thoughts. Yeah, Joey's gonna go first, so I could rate out to Joey. Closing thoughts from Joey Cannoli.
Just learn how to be self-sustainable as much as you possibly can. I know it's difficult, but there's a way. You'll see how much money you talk about saving money every month. Well, if you learn how to fix things on your own, and you learn how to craft certain things on your own, and you learn how to do this and that on your own, and you learn how to skate by the system as much as you can without getting noticed, you'll save a lot of money. So fuck their system. Don't take a part in their system. If everybody did that, they'd have no ability to rule us.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me today, Joey. Joey's not doing news today, but you guys can go check him out. He's going to be playing some Vigima games. So
you could watch me struggle in Resident Evil some more.
There you go. That sounds like some fun. He's not up for the news today, which is completely understandable. News hasn't been great lately. Not that there isn't news. It's just you can only complain about so much before you don't want to complain anymore.
True.
But anyway, thank you again, Joey, and we'll see you later. All right, and then Sean, we'll go to you for final thoughts.
Yeah, I want to second what Joey's saying. Master your skills, learn them all, and if you can meet up with some sort of notary public, and you can establish I'm giving you pro tips here. This is how the Rockefellers did it. Meet up with a notary public, establish yourself a common law trust, and put your property into it. It will no longer be your property, but you will be named as the executor of the trust, and you have controlling influence over it. But when you die, your kids will replace you and the trust retains ownership, so there's no taxes to pass it to your kids. This is how generational wealth is established. Take care of the people around you, master your skills, handle your own business, fix your shit. It's really easy. Collect tools. Love you guys. Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you for coming on, Sean. I appreciate all the conversations that we had today, and I look forward to having you guys on again in the future. Thank you, Sean.
Yes, sir. Peace.
And then Nora, we're gonna move to you. Final thoughts, Nora.
Make sure that you go out and you learn a trade. Teach your friends, teach your family, be annoying about it if you have to, but maybe that skill you pass along can help somebody in the future. And the biggest thing that I make sure to tell everybody is to hug your friends and your family. Tell them how much you love them. It's not gay to tell a guy that you love him, because guess what? If you never know when it's going to be the last chance that you ever get to do it, and you don't want to ever live with that regret. So make sure that everybody knows how you feel, support your loved ones, be there for them. And today, especially of all days, especially talking about Karl, go do something good for yourself. And again, tell somebody that you care about that you love them.
And to second what Nora's saying, no, you absolutely should tell your friends that you love them, because there are multiple different kinds of love. In the English language, we only have one word for it, but I believe in Greek they have several. There is love of family, love of your children, love of your friends, love of your work. There's so many different types of love. It is absolutely perfectly fine to express that to those that you love. For example, I have multiple friends that I've had since kindergarten and my early childhood, and I'm still thankful to call them friends today. When I hang out with them or I talk to them on the phone, I do tell them, I'm like, hey, love you, bro. Have a good day, man. And I let them know. that I do care about them. So absolutely, if you haven't reached out to someone in a while that's a good friend or a family member of something, reach out to them and see how they're doing.
Yep. Love you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, Nora. Have a great day. All right, guys. And then final thoughts here. We got everyone out now. Please, please, please go and watch the interview I did with Karl. This is everything in his own words. We go through a lot of the evidence that he had pertaining to his situation, and there's no interview like it. He He's not around to give interviews anymore. So if you want to know his story and more about the man, go and check out the interview. You can find it on YouTube and Rumble. If you don't want to look at the interview, you can, of course, go directly to his Twitter. On his Twitter, it is at Karl Jay. On Twitter, I've retweeted some of his stuff. If you go to my Twitter, you'll be able to find it there. Go to his Twitter, and he has everything archived. His account is obviously still up. It shouldn't be going anywhere. Everything is archived, all of the evidence that he posted. Now, I know he didn't post everything. There is some information that he only shared during the interview with Joey and I. So, you know, if you want to go check out his Twitter, look at the things that he was posting there. It's all archived. But there's also the article that was written. Overall, good article. This is from the Sacramento Bee. Good article. If you guys want to go check that out, I have that linked on the Discord. I should probably put it in the description of this video as well, so I could do that later. And I highly recommend you guys go and give this a full read. After, I would recommend you watch the interview or listen to the interview first, and then you read the article to get a more full picture of everything that was going on. But with that, I'll leave you guys with hit follow, hit subscribe wherever you're watching. If you're on X, follow me on X if you're not already. And yeah, like I said, I never want this isn't stuff that I want to report on. This is stuff that I feel as though I have an obligation to report on. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I don't do this for fame. I don't do this for money. Not that I've gotten a lot of it. I do this because it's an outlet for me. If I wasn't talking your guys' heads off about news and things going on in the world, I would be doing it to my friends or my family. This is an outlet for me to express things that I have going on, or things that I see going on, not the things that I have going on. This has always been an outlet for me, and that's what it's always going to be. If I all of a sudden blow up tomorrow, I hope to never change. The only thing I hope to change is that I get better production quality. I get a better microphone. I get a better camera. Maybe a nicer area to film the show. That's all I could ever hope for. But I don't ever want to change. I don't ever want to do the things differently. I like what I'm doing, and if it helps anyone, if I inform anyone, then that's far more than I ever thought I would do. The fact that we had upwards of 60 people listening across 3 different platforms today blows my mind. I mean, this time last year, I had no one watching me. So, you know, I'm just glad that I could get awareness to a story like this, even if it was as little awareness as I brought to it. But, you know, if you're ever thinking about doing something like this, try to reach out to people. Don't ever take your life. Taking your life is never the answer. I see it as taking the easy way out. As hard as a decision it is for people. Life is hard, and it's hard for many different reasons. But you know, life's a roller coaster, man, and you don't want to stop the ride early. You might as well see where it ends. You don't need to end it on your own. You might as well see where it ends. If life is crappy and sucks for you, like it does most people, might as well see where it takes you. That's my message to everybody. Might as well see where life takes you. As hard as it gets, maybe it gets better, maybe it gets more difficult, but life is always worth living. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. And yeah, you guys have a good one. Thanks for tuning in today. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later.
Feathers fall, but the sky won't care. Red and blue banners in the same stale air. Truth's a shadow you can't hold. It slips like sand, it's bought and sold. Left wing, right wing, same old bird. Chirping lies that we've all heard. Fly in circles, never higher. Two sides feeding the same fire. They preaching suits, they howling ties. Behind the mask, the same disguise. Promises crumble like a brittle stone. The stage is packed, but we're alone. What's the cost of hope's decay when every side feels the same grave? Left wing, right wing, same old boy. Curbing lies that we've all heard. Flying circles, never higher. Two sides feeding the same fire. They draw the lines, we take the bait. We fight each other while they orchestrate a cage with bars we cannot see, built by their false dichotomy.